Hey? Who's up? Yeah.
Down here, it'll be out there.
Hello. We having a video camera? Hello, Jerry. And which little girl is this? Trying to talk to her in your face. Turn it on your face.
We know who you are.
Let's see.
That's a trailer. Right, let's go up. Don't know if we're in anybody's way.
I smell cucumbers here.
Yeah. Jim's got one.
Yeah, Archie's got an aversion to cucumbers.
Kryptonite to Superman.
Yeah, like kryptonite to Superman. And here we have the...
Got the Moulton t-shirt on?
Oh yeah. $6 million man. You're lying again. You didn't cost that much. £3.50. Hey, look, this looks special. Look at that. These discs. It looks really good, Mark.
A bit wonky, but
That looks really good. Did you just put that on yourself? I mean, you know, they're not.
they were 20 inch. I cut them down.
That's really good.
Nearly gave up on fitting them.
Yeah.
I was going to rip them off, but I thought
Let's have a look out the window. There's Mark's van out there. No sign of Jason yet, but he'll be here shortly, I should think. Here we go, back again. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
I'll put them in with Gemma's.
Morning, Jason. Good morning. That was good timing. There's a couple more Moultons over there.
Early morning, late summer.
You have to put your bike in the van.
Okay. How soon before we get George along then?
Oh, next year I
To
hope.
one of these.
Morning, Nigel.
Good morning.
Hello. Kelly.
Your camera again.
Of course. How far did you cycle from then?
Feltham.
Feltham. Gosh.
Yeah.
Nearest we could get.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So we missed the Hounslow train because we stopped to chat to friends, didn't we? So quite on the
Same
way.
distance.
Yeah. All right. This is Jason. Have you met Jason before?
Hi,
Jason, this is Nigel, and this is Kelly.
Hi. Nice to meet you. Nigel. Feltham. I don't know where Feltham is.
The other side of Heathrow.
Oh, you know where Feltham is?
Oh, it's a long time since I lived over this side of town. I'm actually closer in than Camden or Islington. If you look at it that way.
Yeah.
Well loaded up.
Well, we live in Wandsworth.
So
Yeah.
it's a really good train service, isn't it, that comes along the river? It goes to Richmond, doesn't it?
I like your...
right.
It's just fallen over. Yeah.
Hi. Been like a 25cc or something like that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
But failed the safety standards.
Really? What is it then? Is it supposed to be some sort of chopper? Where'd that come from? Is it American or?
No, it's Italian.
Is it? Good God. I've seen anything like it.
Feel the weight of it.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get away with taking this one then.
That's outrageous. I've never seen anything like it.
at the end. That's
The bars are brilliant. Here we are, finally at the hall. And Andy and Jason, Mark and the girls are setting up the tents. We've got the car set up. Lovely green lawn. I'm going to go up and see what how Andy's getting up with a stall, with a stand.
1,000 feet, so it's quite high.
I thought that slavery was abolished.
No, it's all self-inflicted. He chooses to do it. It's okay if it's voluntary.
I suppose it's good when you get stopped at the end of it.
He was quite pleased to be done, yeah. You could ask that question tonight, I'm sure he'd say something. We played pranks on him at the end, which wasn't very nice. He was too tired to appreciate them.
He's got really grumpy or something.
Well, he just fell asleep.
So I like to keep a contemporary record of these events. So
Which model Sony is that?
it's the TR805.
805. I have a 400.
Yeah.
TR400, which is quite nice.
Is that a Hi8?
It's Hi8,
Yeah.
It looks very similar to that, except it's obviously detailed different. It doesn't have the large glare shield.
Oh, this lens is an addition.
Right.
It's a wide angle.
Yeah, the lens is much bigger than normal.
Yeah.
Does that have the image stabilizer in it?
It has,
Yeah,
yes.
so does ours. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Makes me look good.
Well, the wide angle lens does put an unusual perspective on things, but at least I can get everything in.
Right, and of course we're adding all this strange audio track to your view.
Sorry?
We're adding all this audio track.
Yes, definitely. Whatever you say will be taken down and used in evidence against you.
But it's on one disc you can record an hour.
Oh, it's not too bad. In tape you can get 2 hours or more. But the instant access is very nice in the disc. And you
Yes,
can
it
break any
is.
spot.
That's right. And you can put it near a magnet, nothing
Yeah.
happens.
Oh, it's a tough...
Magnet is
It's magneto-optical?
that's right.
Okay.
Calm before the storm.
Well, we hope so.
Oh my god.
Everything you say will be taken down and used in evidence. So be careful what you say.
We got any arsenic for his case? Yeah.
That won't be on Westward or HD?
Yeah.
He's on Clive TV at home.
Sat there having a good old laugh. Yeah, you'd be saying those caterers. Remember them? Yeah.
Oh, that's a bit bright.
That's hitting your eyes, isn't it?
Hey? I was just...
Hit your eyes.
Yeah. Looks like a nice spread.
Yes, you can't see it. I've covered it up.
Oh, no, well, I mean,
You can believe, eh?
I can imagine. You have to have a good
Come back and film
imagination.
the empty plates and we'll be happy.
Yeah.
If you come back and all the plates are gone.
I'm just looking at this grafter here.
Pardon?
This grafter.
Hang on, you haven't seen the badge.
Who's this then? Hang on.
You haven't seen the badge.
I'm just waiting for it to focus. Hang on, why isn't it focusing? Hang on. It's
I
moving
expect it's
closer.
in the
There
dark.
you are.
There you are.
Mike Helper.
Yeah.
He is the chairman of
Well, I
Country
never.
Cavalcade. If you believe it, a
Yeah.
fortnight ago he had his bowler hat.
What's that then you've got there? Oh, what? Where'd you get that from?
I want
Oh,
one of
Land
these.
Rover.
I want
I
one
was just
of
reading
these.
about that in the
I
paper.
just rode one.
Yeah? I just read about that in the paper.
I just had a ride. I went up the hill.
Yeah.
Young chap come down and he said, I said, God blimey, I just been reading about that. He said, would you like to have a ride? I went right up the top of the hill and turns out we were going downhill, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I weren't puffing or nothing. It's fantastic.
Right. I'll have a
But then
look
he
at
said £480 and I thought, well, I should have to sell the car to get one. I love one. Look, a nice bike.
it. I'll have a look. Where'd you get that pamphlet then?
Michael gave them to us. Mike, I think there's some up there I inserted.
Was there? I'll have a look.
I'll see Michael and get him one.
God. There. What's in the coffee?
And look at this. Look at Mr. What has he done here?
Got one.
What?
Got 2 pegs missing.
What an excellent job.
Well. Got 2 pegs missing.
Oh, well, I'll sort that out. Hey, that's a nice tent. Is that yours? Me? Yeah. Patrol leader.
Come and do my trouble leader. Come and do my guy road.
Alright, wait a minute. Don't knock my tent down.
How close do you want the neighbours then, Clive?
Oh, I don't mind. Come on in.
Well, if you're going to tell me a bedtime story, you're going to have to get pretty close.
Yeah. There's a camera.
I'm helping now.
Got it all. He took his coat off.
Where's that little kitten gone?
Ah. What have we got going on here then?
You've got a little kitten.
Oh look, there's a little... where?
There.
Oh, that little kitten. Aha. Nice tent.
Yeah.
All the best cycle shows.
Yeah.
A bargain from York, this, you know.
Marvellous. Like the colour.
First used at Glastonbury. Exclusive to Moulton's only.
What's that? A pussycat? I tell you, last year there was a little cat roaming around here. A little grey, Moulton, steely grey cat.
Look, they even have Moulton cats here.
Yeah, exactly the same colour.
Yeah.
Historically, Jason, I've always tried to, okay? I don't always succeed.
Get away with bossing me around.
Well, I always try to. So why should I stop now?
I just rear up on you.
Well, yeah, well, that's it. Well, there you go. There's no problem then, is there?
Well, there will be when I rear up on you.
Are you ready for this walk into town? I think everyone else is off.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I can always catch you up. I know where it is.
Mm-hmm. Bird song, everything. Marvellous.
Oh, well, we have it within the Moulton Club a sales and wants list. If you want to, if you have in mind at some stage later down the road, if you want to make a note of
sorry.
your name and address to write to, if you decide you want to sell it.
Shh.
Wouldn't like that. No. Wouldn't like that at all.
In the weather, I don't mind wearing
What it is,
Seen it before, but
Always looks nice, doesn't it? No matter how many times you look at it. Shh. Real one. Right. Lovely.
It's reading my numbers in there at the moment.
Oops, sorry.
It's all right.
Watch out.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah. Did you send me some money? Yeah, that's right, £15. Yeah, what's your first name?
Hey up.
Hello.
How's it going?
Oh, still the same. Chugging on. Is that thing live?
Of course it is. The amount of times I've got you on video.
It's a big fat lens you got on the front there.
Yeah, it's wide angle.
Is it?
Yeah. Useful in a place like this. These big wide scenes. Last time I saw you was at the NEC for the motorcycle show.
Did you buy anything?
Nah. Can't afford to buy anything.
What were you riding there? Was it Kawasaki?
No, I got a CB750 Honda.
Oh, is that the...
The retro one, sort of. That's it.
At moment.
Oh, right.
What do you use for your collar spot on bracket?
Oh.
I know it's the age-old problem, but I'm just trying to get
Well,
as
I've
many
just-
different ideas as I can and see which works out the best.
Well, what I've got in there is the standard cutlass for the red, basically. It's a better way around that.
It involves designing and cutting and...
That's a good finishing work.
This is nice.
You've obviously got a frame build in here. No, it's just that, see, I'm right down in the bottom of Cornwall, and there's no frame builders down there. Rather nice.
That is a nice one, isn't it? Have you seen Kevin Organ's Mark III?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Look at the chain wheel on it.
Oh, like a fag type bottom bracket, yeah.
There you go, chain ring, so that oval.
Yeah, that's a real leg ring, isn't it?
Has actually compounded the problem of already having a wide one. He's actually putting a shoulder one on, making it wider. But I did when I have my frame done. It does work well.
Yeah.
But I've got a specialised bottom bracket.
Oh,
It's quite
right.
nice with the whole.
Hi, Clive.
Hi.
Jim, been having what's the where all the little bikes are?
Little bikes?
Yeah.
What sort of little bikes?
There is a little bike.
Comes out.
It's a
Irish.
the Walworth Road. Yeah, it is Irish.
What are you Irish?
I am a bit actually. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, this is best management.
That's okay. I don't know that. That's bad engineering.
Yeah.
And that angle should be out.
Yeah, that's further out.
Capture this one.
You're the last one. You can leave it at the side if you want to. Sean, just leave it at the side. You just know that you're the very last one to come out. Is somebody going to ride the green one as well?
Okay.
Where's Nigel? You going to ride the green one?
first display in our moving museum today is the curling studies etchings, which really started the whole process off. And Dr. Moulton might like to say a few words about how he came to acquire this machine and its influence on his current or his later development of bicycles in general.
First thing you should notice that it's a fraud, really. By that, the curly stays, of course, don't do anything. But they look nice, but essentially it's I think the origin of the curly stays was to differentiate in racing are similar. But that apart, because I haven't thought about it obviously from that, or scarce from that day to this, but when I came to try bicycles again, real ones, after this, the ordinary old things that one had had as a kid or at university, this was the one that I got from a friend, and in Bristol, Bristol Airplane as I was. And I think the fact that it was a lovely lightweight thing and went beautifully inspired me to try and improve this wonderful thing which a bicycle is, lightweight bicycle is, and it was certainly nothing to do with the fact that it had that odd frame. But it's a lovely thing, and well worth, the other thing that's worth noting is that in a classical product, that the craftsmen want to embellish their work, and it was at that time very common, and maybe to this day, to make the lug work very fanciful, and there are a whole lot of curious designs which are decorating something which otherwise would be maybe rather dull because it's classical.
Very nice level of equipment. Now these two machines jump a little bit forward because the early evolution of the Moulton bicycle was by way of the monocoque, which you may know, but the beauty of these particular machines is that they're very similar to those shown in the general arrangement patent drawings, showing the fundamental arrangement of the Moulton bicycle and its characteristics in terms of small wheels, high pressure tyres, a universal adjustable frame and big capacity for carrying. These two individual machines have other features not shown in the patent drawing in respect of the cowling, and I think Alex might want to say a few words about the cowlings that are used here.
Right from the beginning of my endeavour to improve on the classical bicycle, I was always concerned with providing some weather protection, and this one, which preceded that, had a moulding, a fairing, which we developed somewhat with wool tufts, and there's some photographs, I think, in your book of the tuft experiments. And that desire for some sort of weather protection on the one hand, and hopefully to reduce wind resistance on the other, has been very much a continuing theme. The one on the right there, which Rachel is holding, that's very interesting from an historic point of view, because at that time, and I'm now talking early, I suppose late 50s, early 60s, that I was working with Isigonis on the Mini and then on the 1100, and Sergio Pininfarina was the consultant helping Isigonis on the 1100. The 1100, as you know, had a Pininfarina body, and he was fascinated with this endeavour, and he said that he would have a go at making a stylized or improved shape of that one, and it turned out as that. So that one is made, that white one there. Perhaps would you turn it, Rachel, around towards the public, towards the top way. I'm so sorry. That way. Sorry. That's it. Lovely. So that is a Sergio Pininfarina prototype, which has therefore some historical interest. The bikes themselves underneath, the chassis, as it were, represent, I think in both cases, that's right, the leading link, the front one is leading link, and I was trying at that time to commonize the front and rear suspension. Would you be kind enough, Rachel, now put it sideways on to the, thanks so much. And you'll see that the front and rear suspensions are similar, not quite identical, and that was a commonizing idea to commonize for production. The disadvantage of both those systems, which are the fundamental thing, perpetrated sometimes now in error by motorcycle designers is having too much mass behind the steering axis, and that's a very bad thing to do, and I certainly we never went on with that, rightly so.
A couple of other things I'd just like to comment on briefly here. A noteworthy feature of the use of very small diameter tubes in the triangulated links for the suspension, which was something which was come back to, of course, later in the AM series, but it emerged that early in the design process. Also, the special tyres here, which are similar to the Dunlop Sprite series, but specially devised for the Moulton, rather than using a standard tyre that was then commercially available. And also the rubber blocks that are used here are only in compression and not in shear, so that was another feature which was to develop further before the production machines emerged.
Yeah. Would you like to order lunch?
Well, now we're getting much nearer to the sort of machine that was produced in the early 1960s, but we're still in the prototype era. You can see that it's looking much more like a Moulton Deluxe that you might have come across, plenty of examples around here today, of course. But there are still significant differences. We've got the billiard cue marking to visually foreshorten the cantilevers, which was considered to be an important point in getting public acceptance. But in getting the linkage between the steering and the front fork, you'll notice that there's an external triple hinge device, sort of thing that you see quite often on the suspension systems used on some mountain bikes now. This is instead of the more refined development which came out in the form of the nylon spline device internal. So you've got this rather uglier device externally with the hinge to give that steering control. And that was used, I remember there's one particular example, there was a use in racing, in testing the bikes in 1962 in Southampton, where a similar device was used on the bike, although it was given a complete racing treatment in terms of drop handlebars and the other accessories. We've still got the suspension in compression only at the back, but on the whole the machine is getting nearer and nearer to the production form.
Thank you, Danny. Seeing that toggle link at the front reminds one of its origin. You'll appreciate that on aircraft landing gears, that is the classical and very sensible way of doing it. But and other people 30, 40 or 30 years later on bicycles are similarly doing it. But the disadvantage, which is self-evident if you look carefully at it, are that there are at least 3 hinges, which obviously, particularly in the small scale of a bicycle, as opposed to the well-maintained larger scale of an aircraft, they would simply wear. So I didn't go on with that. There's a perfectly sound way of obviously steering a telescopic device. It's to be used, a lot of people use today in the States, and they have exactly the same problem they'll all wear and so on, but there it is. That's the thing, if you've been at it long enough, like I have, or a long time like I have, you see people coming round, nobody ever reads, looks at the past, or studies what's been done, they just go on reinventing the wheel. In my case, I reinvented a small wheel.
May also be one of the earliest uses in the prototypes of the basket, which has been a consistent strand as well to the current day. And I think it's true to say that that's locally produced, isn't it? Sedgemore?
And that's very much a particular feature. And we saw stop now, very pretty sight coming around. But the basket still continues, not quite as elegantly done as the basket then, but the rider just coming around now is most elegant.
Certainly couldn't argue with that. And this, in fact, is jumping a little bit further. We've skipped the early deluxes, the series 1s, if you like. But herein comes one of these little twists, because this is the version that was catalogued as being the new look, and in some ways you can call it a Series 2, but really it isn't still. It's heading in that direction. The Series 2 frame differences were gradually phased in over a period of years and mostly concerned the front and rear forks. So in many ways it's still the original launch frame, but kitted out differently with the emphasis on chrome and polychromatic paint finishes. And you can see now that people have got used to the idea of the cantilevered seat and steering tubes, and that we've done away with the billiard cue markings accordingly. So this is about 1965.
Yes, sir. Really, Tony, I would say, just being reminded, seeing it again, this represents the maturity of the first design. And the features, just to remind one, that I've been always very, very concerned with the appearance, never giving way, letting appearance dominate over function. But there was one feature that I did do that, and wrongly so, that you notice that the fork blades are tapered in a typical way, an appropriate way for fore and aft movement. And so I wanted to balance that out visually, and the rear ones are also tapered. And of course that is gave flexibility in the wrong sense. And we had certainly to put stiffness in. And after that, of this series, we made them, I think it was in series 2, made them with the straight blades. But that was a very bad thing on what is essentially a technical object, ever to allow appearance to let in something unsound technically. And I think I'm just seeing it again, haven't thought about it really from that day to this. It's not bad. A lot of things, of course, have been copied, and little things like the chain guard and so on. Quite a neat feature, and quite a bold one at the time, was that very important stiffening member of the tail going straight through, plunged through the seat tube. That's always quite a nice bit of production engineering. And then the flying buttress, the white thing, which was to support the tail. Then originally I didn't do that, and the famous case I went seeing that coming back with bent tails down, and I thought, how can they bend down? And then I saw a photograph of a parson and his wife sitting on it, rather than the parson riding, the wife was sitting on the back, and I thought, my God, so good having a luggage carrier, you want to have a parson's wife carrier, so hence the flying buttress.
We could only sell them to Catholic priests, I suppose, as an alternative. Okay, the next machine is a Safari, ridden there by Ian, who's gone on many a safari in his time, not necessarily on a safari. This is the touring version, of course, which was catalogued from the start of the Moulton range until about 1966. In fact, the safari was taken out to Iceland by Brian Walker, the well-known illustrator, who continues to have an involvement with Moulton bicycles to this day, but whose work appears in many magazines and indeed comics. And Brian and his wife took 2 pre-production safaris onto the lava flows in Iceland, and that was all part of the evaluation process before the launch. Essentially, the frame is the same as the general range. The tyres are, for touring purposes, the relatively heavier 16x1 and 3/8. The very nice feature about the machine is the provision for luggage, with a special variant of the Moulton bags front and rear, with the side pockets on the rear bag for the odd little bits and pieces, a lid which is extendable upwards to carry bulky items, and with fixing rings on the top to take a bed roll or whatever. Yeah, that's the cloth version there. The front bag matching as well, with the ability to lift that up. You've got bottle cages either side of the head tube, alloy mud guards, and an alloy chain ring on a then considered to be quite lightweight cottered chain set by Milremo. And with a 4-speed hub. The bike was also offered with a 2-speed derailleur converter to give 8 gears as well, and that was using a Cyclo 2-speed block bolted onto the side, and with a Jean Robert or Cyclo mechanism to shift the chain over. Very nice bike, the Safari, and it was also available, of course, in the S variant, where it had the narrower high-pressure tyres and more lightweight components.
Thank you. The concept of using the bicycle for the longest journey was always very much in mind, because I felt that if one was trying to improve on the classic bicycle, which is such a wonderful thing, that the ultimate test is speed on the one hand, and we shall see some speed things later, and the longest journey, carrying your baggage. And it always, the fundamental thinking about the mountain bicycle is that the last thing you want are those ridiculous panniers. I mean, if you see a bicyclist today, particularly very often, of course, struggling along on a mountain bike on a road with these enormous bags on the side, like a fat donkey, and because the wheel's in the way, and and then panniers on the front, wobbling about on the wheel. And so my concept, which appeared in the first patent specification, was to fill the space liberated where the big wheel is not, by frame-mounted bags, which are very much more stable, and of course, from a head-on point of view. And would you just like to point the bicycle just towards our friend, so that you can see? Look at that profile compared to the big panniers, which I call on like fat donkeys. So that was very much the theme which we try and carry on to this day. And in those days we had some extremely good bag makers. And I don't, do you remember what one? That was Aerosmith. I've gone, I'm afraid. And the Brooks saddle still survives. But they were always meant to have rather somber colours, because if the thing was being used in the country, we wanted to be discreet. So there were the water bottles. And the thing I very much envy, you've got one of the original bells. Does it still ding? Excellent.
Thank you. Another thing that's particularly nice about it, really, in a nostalgic sort of way, is that virtually everything except for the cranks were British made at that time, and there's quite a reflection. It would be quite a difficult job to get that level of specification on the bicycle today with any reasonable state of quality.
Yes, the decline of the infrastructure of the cycle industry in this country. Very much offset, I think, by our friends in the United States. I mean, it's the resurgence of component manufacture in the States is really wonderful. A few in this country, I mean, hope, hub makers, but very few.
The Speed 6 now, this is one of the machines I always wanted when I was a schoolboy and never could quite aspire to. One day perhaps I'll make it. This is the Speed 6, which was the first production serious sports machine produced by Alex. There was in fact a Speed model catalogued in the very first brochure produced by the company, but that didn't get to the marketplace. This one has been developed rather more over the first few years of production, and this was the bike on which what we now call the 17-inch tyre first evolved, or first emerged, and that was designed as a replacement for the then existing tubular tyres, so that the wheels could be exchanged without having to reposition the brakes, and that's really where the circumference of that particular variant comes from the existing tubular format. This bike is designed to be adaptable so that you could ride it for touring with the bags and carriers and mudguards on, or you could strip it down and take the whole carrier beam off for racing purposes. And I can well remember as a youngster reading in my local newspaper in Reading about how Vic Nicholson used to come up to the cycle track there and use the superior acceleration of the Speed 6 to quickly put distance and psychological advantage between himself and the rest of the riders. And good old Vic did very well with the Speed 6 at the Reading track.
Thank you, Tony. A couple of features that spring to my eye. There's the rear fork, no longer curved, very much straight and stiffened with a box section. And that's an interesting thing that I'm reminded of, that tailpiece which pierced through the, tailpiece which pierced through the seat tube. Originally, my intention was that you simply took the carrier off this tube and had this spine going through. And I remember John Woodburn, in sort of, I think, 61-ish, I suppose, when he did his memorable high-speed rides, he just sawed it off. And I thought to myself, it's a horrible thing to do to my bike. But then I thought, well, he's riding it, I'm not. And I know these, I absolutely agree with it, carrying nothing that is not necessary. So it was made always, therefore, with a plug-in carrier, so that you can take it off in an orderly way. You don't have to saw it off, you take it off in an orderly way and use it for speed.
In case anybody's wondering about the tyres on this particular machine, it has obviously at some stage been fitted with the standard British E3J 16x1 and 3/8 format, so if you're thinking they're looking a bit chunky, you are right. The gear is interesting also on this machine because, as far as anyone can tell, and no one's ever challenged the statement, this appears to be the first 6-speed derailleur marketed in the UK, possibly in the world. And it has the unusual format to get maximum wraparound and so on of the rearward Moulton modified P2 Benelux shifting mechanism. Also, the rear suspension here has adjustable damping on it. There are hexagonal nuts acting on a friction surface there, which was a feature of some of the early prototype machines, and certain, I think some of the Safaris and S-range models had this, but certainly all Speed 6s had that damper there so that you could stiffen up the response of the rear suspension for racing purposes.
Yes, that was again, thank you for reminding me of that. That was the first manifestation, if you like, with the big chain, with the big chain wheel of the distance between the chain line and the crank and the spindle, and invoking some programming, as it's called. So at that time we just put a damper on.
Right, two interesting machines entering the arena now. The Moulton Minx, the smaller machine there, is an indication of the 7/8 scale range which was produced. Largely, I think, in competition with the other manufacturers who started producing vaguely Moulton-like machines, at least in first appearance, but which didn't give the same combination of high-pressure tyres and suspension. And obviously they were cheaper to make. And they were also ergonomically optimized around the typical British female rather than the male. And subsequently, Alex produced a range of rationalized, production-engineered 7/8 scale machines based on a 14-inch wheel, a number of different variants produced, some single-speed, some multi-speed, and the Moulton Minx was a 3-speed version designed for taller, older children perhaps, and smaller adults.
Yes, that point of the scale is a very difficult one, obviously. That there are certain dimensions, prime dimensions on our bikes, which we've developed over the ages, and they're very, very special. And by and large, on the current bikes, that they really range over, is allowing a new stem, range over the whole spectrum, percentile spectrum. But in the first bike, the bottom bracket was too high for the use of everybody. So one got into that conflict between the correct saddle height for working your legs on the one hand and putting your toe on the ground on the other. And of course that has been, not error, but whatever compromise, was enormously magnified by the mountain bikes, where you see it where they're grossly, of course, too high for ordinary use. And you see mountain bike riders sort of trying to effectively, it's a form of dance at the traffic light. You see them trying to hold a position because they can't get their feet on the ground without getting off on the one hand, or they get the wrong riding position on the other. So the basic proportions of a bicycle are very, very important things, and certainly the first series was too high, a bit too high on the bottom bracket, and this one, and therefore for smaller statures, it was positively too big, and that was one of the reasons why we made this the smaller scale.
The 16 by 1.25, what is now the 17, and this first batch had the amber wall on them. In subsequent production, that was dropped, and so these are probably the rarest of the Moulton specific tyres, and if anybody's got a spare one, it's the one I need to complete my collection.
No. Could you just demonstrate the two-speed gear? Because that's the thing that would you mind and changing the gear and then putting the rear brake on? That's the thing I tremendously lament, is Victor and Sark's bad cess to them and given up making that. Yes, look at that. And so that, of course, is very, very neat. And I did consider, when Victor and Sark's were determined to have given it up, why they didn't put a batch through, and so goodness knows, I don't know, but they're very obstinate about it. And I did consider actually trying to make it ourselves, but it's too formidable a task for small quantities, really. But if anyone's got a two-speed Victor and Sark's Duomatic, I think it's called, treasure them very much, but it's a wonderful solution. Yeah, thank you.
Incidentally, on that tack, there was another version of the Duomatic, which was called the Automatic, which was controlled by centrifugal weights, which shifted up at a certain speed. I'm not sure that many of us would like to have ridden it, but if you ever come across one, they are very, very rare indeed. Now, this is something very strange, which you don't see very often at all, a Moulton without suspension. And this is what I think I'll leave to Alex to talk about it first.
Well, very good. He's, as I say, it's a fixed gear. Is that a fixed gear that's been changed to? Well done, Charles. Well done. Well done, being able to write it. And what's the height? 6'1" this one. It looks very much. So that was not an aberration. It was an experiment. We'd been very successful under David Duffield. Bad luck he's not able to be here today. He's commenting some racing, but we were very successful in criterium racing with our standard speed bikes, and then we were banned because we were obviously faster. And I mean, there's the famous one in your book, isn't it, of the race at the butts
At Coventry.
At Coventry.
Yes. It was in Easter 1963. I think Ives, who was now very much in mountain bike work, so on, he was one of the team members.
At any rate, I don't really know why. I can't remember why I did this, but I wouldn't do it again. But on the other hand, it does. A lot of people have copied it sometimes. I mean, that little red bike that's made in America is rather like it. What's the name of it? The one Pocket something. That's it. I mean, it's the one without suspension, and it's rather like that. Except that one, I think, weighs 16 pounds. It was used for track. It was meant, obviously, simply as a track bike. And it would actually, insofar as if one was interested, which I'm not basically, it's a way to make a track bike. It's very light. Just lift it up with as it were with a finger. There you are. And all made of steel. Thank you very much.
I think that's probably one of the earlier uses of the upturned handlebar as well. This machine coming in now is the Moulton Mark III. This is a nice example because it hasn't been customized in any way, and although it's obviously very tempting to customize machines to suit your own requirements and the components of today, it does mean that there's going to be a dearth of genuine as-delivered machines for the future. And this one is pretty much, looks to me, in original condition. This, of course, was the last manifestation of mass-produced Moultons by Raleigh, where the rear suspension has been redesigned by Alex to the stronger triangulated configuration with the squash ball. You've got a completely detachable carrier there, no provision at the front, and that was a sort of Raleigh cost-cutting exercise. Otherwise, the classic features of the early 1960s Moulton are all there, but just no choice in componentry at all.
And I think there's that, again, reminder, I think those pedals, those monstrous things without bearings.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, just typical of, just a tiny touch of history that I'd offered the Moulton bike originally to Raleigh. Very interested, but turned it down. Then we did it on our own. Then they introduced the RSW, and the commercial pressure competition was very great. I sold out to them distressed on sale with the intention of being a Raleigh Moulton. This is a manifestation of it. I collaborated with them in a down-costing direction, but they had really no intention of going on with it. But it's a strong bicycle, very heavy. Can you lift it up? Are you strong enough for that? Oh, that's quite good. But you see, I think isn't the tubing of the carrier, isn't it a solid rod? I think it is. Anyway, there it is. It's the end of an era. And I mean, beautiful. Look at the beautiful paint job. It's the end of an era. But those pedals are an abomination, of course. They're I mean, just cost-cutting. I remember talking to them at the time. They didn't understand first principles of the whole thing. They're plain bearings and a low-speed thing on your pedals. That's crazy. But there it is. Nice to be reminded. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Very pretty colour.
Now, if I'm not very much mistaken, this is what should be called really the Moulton Mark IV. If you ignore the exact componentry on this, but concentrate on the frame details and so on, and the swan neck front end with the low steering head and the integral stowaway function, this is really the Moulton Mark IV, which never got to the marketplace, but got fairly near it. This particular example is nicely equipped with lightweight fittings, and Alex will say a few words about it.
Thank you. And for putting me nicely on track. When at the end of the rally thing, I then decided that I would just go on evolving the Moulton bicycle, and eventually to make it what one's done, small quantities oneself here. And I was concerned with making the angles more steep, and I was concerned with the search for a frame. And you can see that's one of the frames, but always with the demountable feature for separation, which is not a good particular feature. So that's on the way to what eventually happened, on the way. Very interesting to be reminded of it. I remember that long stem, and but you appreciate that if you steepen the angles, then as a consequence, the frame tube, keeping it at opposite right angles, will creep up the seat tube, and so that's how it gets to look like that.
Shorter wheelbase as well, which started to come in with the Mark III.
Yes, I had long. People chime me about long wheelbase, but the essential thing is that if you want to make a vehicle be very stable, you want to put the wheels as long apart as you can, and so I've always been keen on longer than shorter wheelbases, but it was a little bit overstated in the first series, and I'd bring it back a little on that. Thank you.
And that one dates from 1974, which was the year when production of the Mark III by Raleigh finished. Yeah, thank you. Okay, well, Hilary Stone here, who many of you will know through his writings in Cycling Plus and elsewhere, is demonstrating an AM5. This particular AM5 is one example of the 531 frame space frame series, which started off in 1983, or at least it started off in production then, although its evolution goes back a lot further. Amongst the things you'll notice on it are the frame skins as an integral way of providing storage and maximising use of the space frame to keep those odd bits and pieces together. This particular machine also has the German-style handlebars, which were not normally fitted to the British destined machines. Otherwise, very much representative of the 531 AM space frame range.
The frame skin is, again, very nice to see one of those, Hilary, because I'm very keen on the notion of covering the frame. The frame is a pretty structure in itself, very efficient, and the weight of the skin is nothing, but it does smooth it out aerodynamically, and it also does provide carrying thing. And I remember seeing that. I used to say, look, the front one, the little front pocket, is very useful for carrying your pipe and tobacco in, and which I did. And my goodness me, I wish I'd given up smoking earlier than that. But I've obviously given it up for it must be 10 years. But I remember saying, very handy little place for pouch and pipe.
One minor feature on the rear carrier, you may see a couple of loops down on it there, especially there to take a kryptonite or similar shackle lock, so that it's stored flat and out of the way. And hence that was originally known as the K carrier that eventually became standard. This machine now going around, the white one, is the AM Speed, and the key feature about that perhaps is the use of a narrower diameter tube than on the general 531 range, and also unusually the fact that because it's designed specifically for speed and not for general purpose use, it doesn't separate. So you can see there is not a separable kingpin. The kingpin feature is still there in structural terms, but it doesn't actually take apart. Consequently, there's some lightening, and Alex will take us through a few more of the details of this machine.
Thank you, Tony. It was really, I think, Dave Bogdan, who we've had great pleasure and satisfaction in having him here today. It was Dave Bogdan who did those two memorable Race Across America rides, and I think it was perhaps he himself or the angle leg sponsors or supporters who suggested, well, as the bike, I think there were only 2 bikes on essentially on the ride, that as they're going to be lifted off the top of a car, why have any demountable feature? So again, feeling a bit in sympathy for the race rider for having minimal weight addition, we made that one without the separating feature. By the same token, the seat tube was, of course, like a conventional bicycle to the height requirement of the rider. That was, Dave, I think, was it you or wanting it to be not fitting? That was just really to get it to minimum weight. Yeah. 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 So there it is, and we went to our supplying now on these bikes to Japan. Every now and again, they also like this feature. I mean, it's an aesthetic one as much as anything. But there it goes with the wishbones. Actually, they're not fixed bones, or are they? Yes, by the same. Those are actually wishbones, which are the ones which go down in serrations. But on your race bike, you actually had the fixed bone. Yeah. Thank you.
I'll say it's very nice to have Dave Bogdan with us today. I must say that as one gets older, one tends not to have heroes, but any guy who's ridden a single-stage race of over 3,000 miles in the time he did it is a hero to me. It's great to have him here.
And this evening he'll be talking for us for a little while with some slides. Now look at this. Come on, this is Doug Milliken in full Race of America kit. Will you
It's the Olympic team.
Olympic team. Great marvellous, isn't it? But alas, they won't be using our bike. It'll be all American bike or something.
Actually, a hobby.
Oh.
Potentially a
Oh, is it? Yeah. So turn around and describe your kit. I think that's the first thing. The jersey.
Oh, yeah. This is Pearl Izumi, who is the clothing sponsor for the U.S. Olympic team, and I've been helping them a bit testing in the wind tunnel. So, try that again. Yeah. The jersey is made by Pearl Izumi, one of the clothing sponsors for our Olympic team, and I've been helping them test in the wind tunnel a bit, and as a result, I managed to pick up a little swag. So, and the same with a hat. Is another Pearl Izumi deal.
Thank you very much, Doug.
But the bike itself is a Speed S, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bike is current production.
Yes, current production. And the bags are an attempt that we did a little while ago of making front carrying panniers or bags. But Doug tested them with Steve Head in the Texas tunnel last year, and they're aerodynamically bad, and you're going to have perhaps another go this time or two. But there's no doubt that a very sensible front carrying solution is able to be found around this idea. Would you allow that?
It should be possible to carry at least this much load with no drag penalty.
Fine.
Perhaps a bit of advantage. Certainly no penalty.
Yeah. And just did ride again, if you wouldn't mind, to show the rather remarkable thing that your knees and legs and so on, when you're riding on the saddle, don't in fact get just make, because that's not immediately obvious. It always rather surprising.
No, that's certainly clear.
No problem at all.
So it's a sensible idea, but we're going badly so far, but we shall do it better shortly.
Just tending to keep the load within the wheelbase as well, Alex, which is a good thing from the point of view of stability. Of course, we haven't said anything about the frame construction there really in detail. Of course, the major thing there is the change from 531 steel tubing to the aerospace stainless. Alex might like to say a few words about the reasons for that.
Basically, the choice of materials, I've been through aluminium and earlier on, and I certainly am quite axiomatic about it, that it's not a sensible thing, but a sensible material for a bicycle aluminium when it's welded. And I just make the simple analogy that how much welding do you find on an airplane? And an airplane is actually more intensive, a bicycle is more intensively loaded thing than an aircraft. So if you use aluminium for a bicycle, the only sensible way you can do is to weld the thing. Otherwise, when you can't rivet, it's not suitable for that. So you end up with these enormous tubes, which are the practice of aluminium bicycles today. And I would also say the other factor about aluminium is that the fatigue life, or the period, it will in the end will fail. And I'm sure that in 10 or 15 years' time, Cannondale will have all the frames they've ever made back on their desk. But so certainly, therefore, it should not be, in my view, should not be aluminium, unless you riveted it, which, as I say, which we did on the original monocoque one, but it's not a feasible thing. Riveted like an airplane. Plastic or composite things, but similarly, when the carbon fibre things are there, their failure mode is explosive. And so the steel is an extremely sensible material to make a highly stressed thing. Now, the way to make it possible to make it light, and our bicycles are relatively light, is to do a space frame with small tubes. Now, the restriction of the availability of tubes is pretty tight, but in aviation, where stainless steel tubes are used for hydraulic piping, working very high pressures, there is some chance. And I made a relationship with fine tubes down in Cornwall, and these tubes are 3 or 4 stainless, and with a very special welding, which in fact is it's not soft solder at all, but it is a silver weld and very controlled temperature. You can make a sound structure, and you can make it therefore slightly thinner than is available in chrome moly. That was my choice, apart from the fact, of course, it looks fabulous, it will last forever. And I think it is the appearance of the thing, which doesn't look at all like, if you touch it, it's not at all like chrome plate. I mean, you can see at once that it is this very special thing which stainless is. So that's a manifestation of it at the top of our range.
Another of those dream machines. This is a triathlon.
On around.
Alex will probably say a few words in a moment about the development of this and the quite intensive program that led to this particular machine. Just like to draw your attention initially to the special streamlined front wheel, which is another product of the head research, which Doug was referring to a little bit earlier. Really very nice product there.
This man is Paolo Kiefer, who's been a long time in his life in bicycle design and development, and is very much helping me on future work. Has come over to join us. This particular bike that he happens to be riding is, as you say, the triathlon. Now, my intention there was to make a hard working bike. I mean, in a sense, it's not for show. To try and let the user enjoy the isolation which our suspension provides, so that between the modes of that race, in the riding mode, he's not being vibrated so much. So that's the idea of that, and they also tend to ride with a much more forward position. So we may make a very steep seat angle by that perfectly straight, obvious way of just making that little jerk piece up there. The head wheel is very interesting because Steve Head, who's a very good friend of ours, and Annie, would have been here this time. We great hopes for them to promote these bicycles in the States. And again, Doug Milliken was out at the Texas Tunnel with some measurements of drag. And maybe, Doug, if you're about, what's your view on the merit of that little bit of fairing? Never mind, you can even ask him. Anyway, look, it can be positively stated that streamlining the tire and trailing edge is a sensible thing to do. The number of spokes are 20, and they are bladed spokes. So it's a pretty sensible low drag. Would you make a comment on that? Comment on your view on the merit of
Yeah, the impetus behind the whole development of the faired rim was to get some of the advantages of the disc wheel without the disadvantage in the crosswinds. And it's actually true even with a small Moulton wheel and a strong wind with a front disc, which we use for racing. You can feel the effect of the wind, and it does push the handlebars and push the bike around a bit. When you put that big a hole in the middle, then the air can go right through, and yet you get most of the aerodynamic benefit of the disc with a bladed spoke and a good faired rim.
Thank you very much, Doug.
So, but it's a typical ugly little hot rod, really.
Mean and dirty,
That's
something
it.
like that.
That's right, just black. Thank you.
Doug has just reminded me one thing we didn't mention in the context of this machine is the special saddle here. Now this is an example of Alex's involvement down to the detail of componentry, and in the effort to get a good quality saddle with low weight, this was one that he came up with. He might like to say a few words about it.
Thank you. Yes, I've always been very struck with the fundamental merit of leather. Now, ergonomically, obviously, I mean, if you just consider where the thing has come from. That it's a very, very special material. But what is not generally appreciated is that if you look at the deflection of it, if you actually trace the manner in which it deflects, not only does it eventually move to the particular shape of your own ischial bones, but it also, this is a very interesting thing, that the damping characteristic of its small movement is very special. Now, the damping, that's very advantageous in the isolation of the remaining vibration which comes through. So I liked it very much, but I went there to Brooks and said, look here, let me design you a new frame, because you have to have the last frame you did in 1898 or something. They're absolutely standard reaction, not invented here. Yeah, Mr. Moulton, we've had this all before in 1962, and our culture is to take nothing from anybody, and so go away. I mean, I rather paraphrased it. So I went to the other person who makes leather saddles, which is this guy Lepper in Holland, who immediately took the thing up, and it's quite an interesting thing. It's coming through the development, had certain problems, but it's a very, I think you'll say it's comfortable.
It's comfortable when broken in.
Yeah.
When broken in.
It's easy to adjust with a single 5mm as opposed to the double nut. Just a single key.
Yeah. So it's a 531 tube, rationally designed with a large tube in there and so on. So there's nothing remarkable about it. It's merely been brought up to date, and it's a better job, I think, I suggest, than the solid titanium wire one. I think it's a better thing than that. So that. Yes, it is. Yeah. So it's comparable to the plastic saddles.
It's about half a pound lighter than my Brooks B17 at home. It's also got a very convenient scale on the side of the tube to enable you to set exactly to the millimetre where you want the saddle and experiment with it accordingly. Also nice to see on this bike, while it's in front of me, there's a nice little sticker here about the world record, 51.2 miles per hour. Doug, of course, has been involved intimately with that and with the whole issue of streamlining on the Moultons over the last 12 years. And although I don't want to sound like a quiz show host, I think that deserves a round of applause.
Absolutely. The new word. Yes. That's right, back and forth. That's very good. Like the motorcycle.
And the mountain
As a
bike.
soldier, you ought to aim straight at
His mountain bike.
Yeah. There have been a lot of rumours around for quite a while about these particular machines, and they were fuelled further by an article in the Times of London a couple of weeks ago saying that Land Rover was going to launch a bicycle. Since then, I've been sort of scouring German TV on the old satellite late at night trying to see any coverage of the Frankfurt Motor Show. I've missed it so far, but I think Alex can tell us a little bit more about this one, certainly.
Well, these are APBs, and Nigel is riding one and Sean Moulton is riding the other. And they are both the Land Rover, well, the word is merchandising, isn't it? I think that's the word. And look, that's actually a very important aspect. But let's just go back a little bit, which we haven't mentioned before, is that with the development of the AM series, which are all made here, I thought a few years ago that I would like to widen the appeal of our design, and eventually work towards this APB, all-purpose bike. Found Pashley's in Stratford, a very interesting firm to grant a license to, and in the latter couple of 3 years, it's turned into an extremely good operation. Adrian Williams, who will be with us tomorrow, or tomorrow riding, has turned that company around marvellously, and it's a management buyout and a very enthusiastic, splendid thing. And so they Pashley's in Stratford-on-Avon, make the APB, all-purpose bike, under our license, and a very important thing that we designed and made the tools. So the only thing they can make is what we want, because they can only make it out of our tools. And so that's a rather neat way of doing the license. They can't alter it in any way without our approval. But these two bikes, which are the Land Rover merchandising, is in a marvellously effective way, I think, of giving a promotion to the bike. And I must say, Hilary Stone, who is here, has been riding around, I think he spec'd this one, and it looks extremely good. And I'm sure it'll be a really good promotion for the bike. And I did just a little tiny thing on that, is that with my little connection with Rover, an ancient connection, that Tony Hall, who was a project engineer on the Range Rover, was a very keen mountain bike rider, and when this thing was offered, he said, oh no, it was a real mountain bike for a Range Rover and so on. So I let it be known through the one's connection that in no way could have got a modern thing like the Range Rover with automatic level air suspension have an old-fashioned bit of rubbish like a mountain bike. So here it is. I don't say that was the reason, but that was a little nod. Anyway, how nice it looks. One thing that particularly intrigues me, being a bit of a gear freak, is that this has the Sachs hybrid gear system here with a derailleur block. I think it's a 7-speed here, allied to a 3-speed hub, if I'm not mistaken. Alex, is that the configuration you've got here? I don't know. Ask Hilary. Hilary, where are you? Oh, could you go around? Will the gears work?
I believe so. I'm not trying to.
Right. Just try and go from high to low, and Sean, if you've been. Well,
it's a twist grip gear.
Yeah.
It's a twist grip gear.
Hilary will speak it down. Sachs have been producing a hybrid gear of this sort with a 7-speed block and a 3-speed for a couple of years now. And in fact, there are 1 or 2 downhill mountain bikers in the States who are using this now. It's a very good way of getting a wide range of gears. One get onto the highest gear, one of you please, and the other on the lowest. Then that'll give you flat ground.
Yeah, the Sachs 3x7 system, like we're using on the Land Rover APB, offers gears from 24 inches to about 101. So it's a bit over 4 to 1. Which should be a gear for almost any situation for any rider. They're very user-friendly and beginner-friendly, so it's a real gearing system for people who might otherwise be afraid of gears.
Thank you very much, Hilary. Little story that came to me. Living in the Midlands, I tend to hear a bit of tittle-tattle from the engineering industry from time to time. An acquaintance of mine was visiting the Land Rover works, and the guy on the gate, knowing that this acquaintance is into bicycles, said, oh, Land Rover have designed a bicycle, you know. And this guy said, oh, well, I think you'll find it's a Moulton. No, it's a Land Rover. Anyway, they got over that side of it, and the gate man went on to describe its key features, one of which was 3 little weights that hang on the cables. And these, of course, are the turnbuckles for splitting the cables, but he couldn't be convinced. These are weights. What their purpose is, I leave to you to imagine. Right, well, thank you very much for your patience. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next year. Thanks.
Thank you. We're now going to have the complete circle down a circuit of all the bikes going round. I'd like to say thank you very much to Alex and Tony for a very interesting commentary. And also to Mike Hullis from Phoenix Cycles, who helped me all day Monday to get these bikes roadworthy from the museum. Thank you. The next event will be the challenge, taking the bikes apart. So be ready with your separable Moultons for taking bikes to pieces. Yes, yes, it's out of the museum.
Go on this side. You can sit there now.
Right, sorry.
Volunteers to try. One hand on the handlebar, one hand on the saddle. Like that, right. Ready, steady, go.
You're running for your train.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh dear, you just missed the train. 15 and a half seconds. Anyone else want to have a go?
Put it straight out, Ainsley.
Hey, you haven't done in 5.5 seconds. Oh, 9.5. Not bad.
Not bad.
Creditable.
Carlo's having a go.
Carlo's having a go. Nigel.
Carlo's gonna have a go.
Hello.
Doug, come on. Come on.
Oh yeah,
Come on, Doug. Come on.
Millican, I think you ought to.
I've got cleats on. I'll slip. I've got cleats. I'll slip. So.
Do it barefoot, man. Come on. You're not. All right. Somebody else.
The North American Challenge have dropped out.
One hand on the saddle. You both ready? On your marks. Get set. Go. By a cat's whisker, if that, how they did that one, just. Took slightly longer too, slightly over, it was at 6.5 seconds. So it took a second longer than before.
We're getting tired.
I think. Any more contenders? Alright, one more, good. Anyone else want to?
You want to go with the white one?
What about you, Nigel?
No, I'm doing the other one. Come on. One other person.
Yeah, come on,
Nobody wants to take a bicycle. Oh, no. You do it, alright, Ainsley's going to have another go. One hand on the handlebars, one hand on the saddle. Hang on, reset this. On your marks, get set, go. That would have been I think that would have been a draw if you've got your bits out, Ainsley.
Yeah.
That was well done.
At the time I used to now made a piece of alloy rod. And also I got a first of all, I just use the pinch wheel, but because of the pressure and the angle, it's not strong enough, I won't hold it. So that's why I built the whole gauge and brakes so it's not hold. So now, I've got just a peg and it's So it's just that one extra thing when you fall. Yeah, because then I've got to speak from these guys. Yeah, you can't. It's hinged there, and the bars are in line with it like that, so that it falls against the front wheel. Now, what I do, I drill the hole, put it into a new position with the handlebars more or less there, about that, 45 degrees. Then I mean, it has got that.
It's amazing. I've never used it before.
It's been made in 700. Bigger. This one's bigger.
Oh, you're putting.
That's 7.
You're getting
7.
changed.
Sorry. Yeah.
Why? No, I'm not.
It's alright. It's too much scruffy.
I need really to be a bit warmer.
Yeah, leave him alone.
Come on, oi, you two, come over here. Come over here.
Come on.
No, you come in here. You can change your Clive's tent. Change your Clive's tent.
Changing Jason's tent. Yeah, campsite. Where's Jason gone? Is he there? Is there a Jason in there somewhere?
There might be Jason.
That funny looking thing in there, yeah.
Big trouble.
Oh, look at that. Look at Andy's brekkie. Look at all that bacon.
Use that, okay?
Where is it? Sorry? What? Oh, it's back in that bag. The in that Sainsbury's bag in there. See? I'll take it up to the washroom in a minute, Jerry. Don't worry. Just leave it. I'll sort it out in a sec.
Well, mainly on lecturing.
Manchester United.
Did you have a good night, Peter?
Yes, I
Sleep well. What a night. You didn't get wet though, did you? Sorry?
Of course not, it's a tent, you know.
Well, you might have had a leak. It's a reasonable question.
DLB. Is it the wrong?
And I just thought I'd take a chance.
Because you need, yeah, you could get away with
Morning,
something
Mike.
small.
Hello.
But that's just too small. What is a back one anyway? That's not a standard brake anyway, is it?
Which this one? Oh, I don't know where I got this or when I got it.
Right, Artie. Had your breakfast?
I can give you an LGB.
Yeah.
There's an original one if you want it.
Oh, we got one. Some hard soup.
Tomato soup.
No, they weren't there.
That's good.
What were they on? No, the Valilas on the
Valilas.
Hey?
Go and spare me? Some
What?
bacon go and spare?
Yeah, plenty.
No.
I don't know, is he still there? I'll see.
No, a proper like sort of fake camp one. It was either the one I got or the sort of really expensive.
They're a good tent. I mean,
Sorry.
you can't fix them with the inner only on a really hot day. They're very advantageous.
Oh, with the outer only as well. There's this sort of strap that goes across the front to hold it in position.
Have you been caught where you're trying to put the inlet in the rain?
No, because what I do is
There's a happy camper.
Good morning.
Did you sleep well?
Not brilliantly actually, due to the rain. But,
Yeah.
no, I got enough sleep, I think.
Leaders.
The command off. I think you should. Press hold.
Is that live? Of course it is. Always there.
Let me all look down there.
Is he alright? I'd like to record these events for posterity. When I'm no longer able to ride, I'll be able to watch it at least. Yeah, that's true.
Right then. How are you?
I'm very well, how are you?
Not too bad at all, not too bad at all. It's certainly had a nice ride over.
Two CVs. Gives a smile. Oh, yeah, what's that? The bugle's off.
That's one way of getting a headache if you go on this one.
Sorry.
Is everybody ready? So we left about 5 minutes. Oh no, he's gone. Come on. Come on.
Don't run me over. Morning.
Morning, Douglas.
Morning.
haven't done it yet. Have you done it? Yeah. That's good. Yeah, I'll put that at the top. And the old one.
Bye bye.
Bye, see you. See you later, Pierre. See you, Kevin.
Oh, it's still going well. Yeah. Because I wanted to get back in touch with you. Yeah. I've got one in my house. If you want to see one.
Yeah.
Are you back here this afternoon?
I think so. Will it go with your course?
We're going home now. I'm with my family, but let me give you my address.
Yes, please.
Because